Hey Brian, what's up, brother?
How you doing, Gus?
Oh man, long time no see.
Over 10 years.
Yeah, easily, man.
Yeah.
Since melodic rock,
Yep.
I'm not sure which year that was,
Yeah.
but man, it's been a while for sure.
Yeah. I think it went
You,
around 2013, maybe
I
around.
guess
Yeah.
I guess that's it, man. So
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I told you I had like a bit of a fever this morning.
Right.
Still not still feeling a bit under the weather, man, but let's move it. Let's move this because there's so much to do. I'm so excited about the album. I'm so excited about all the stuff that's going on that,
Right.
man,
Yeah.
it's a great pleasure talking to you, my brother.
Yeah. Me too. I'm glad to talk to you. I haven't talked to you in a while. So
Yeah, man, because you know what? I always followed Rock Eyes because it features exactly the kind of music and the kind of bands that I dig.
yeah.
And of course, I always see you on with your kids
Yeah. Yeah.
on Facebook and all that. So man,
Yeah.
really happy to reconnect, brother.
Good. Good. Do you ever take a break? Everything I read about you, you always working. You know.
Yeah, man. The fun thing is when you actually do what you love, it
Uh-huh.
doesn't really feel like working. I
Right.
mean, if I wake up on a Monday morning and I have like a week of making music ahead, of
Right.
writing music and doing all that in the studio, and have a couple of nice gigs on the weekend, I'm all good.
Cool. Cool.
I'm
Cool.
happy about it,
Wow,
you
wow.
know.
One of the
You
reasons,
know,
go ahead.
yeah, because the thing is, um, it's not easy to make a living out of your passion. So
Right, yeah.
I'm one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know one of the releases that really sticks out in my mind is Revolution Renaissance. I love them albums. Excellent.
Oh, that's
Uh-huh.
thank you so much. I love them, especially the first one, Age of Aquarius. That one is like it's my baby.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That
I
unbelievable.
wrote a bunch of those songs.
Yeah, I really like that band, and now you got a new one out, Dandelions, coming out on Kivel Records in only a couple days.
Yeah, it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out on November the 12th.
Right, yeah.
So it's next week.
Yeah.
It's perfect timing for us.
Wow, wow. So let's go down track by track and tell me your impression of each song or a little story about each song, and I'll tell you what I feel. So let's start off with
That's a nice that's a nice ping pong.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, definitely the first track, Unspoken, one of my favorite tracks. Excellent, great to listen to. Really upbeat. It's really diversity in the whole album, actually. Listening over and over the last couple of days. I got a little bit to say about each song, but really a great opening track.
I cannot even say that it was my goal to feature like to have a super diverse album. It's just the fact that I'm I I I love doing a lot of different music, but at the end of the day, I'm a hard rock guy.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm a hard rock guy, but I try to always bring something to the table. Even if it's just the fact that I'm Brazilian, and of course, you're surrounded by music that's a little bit different from the ones from music people listen to in Europe or the US. So of course, some of it, even if it's not on purpose, some of this, uh, be it the phrasing or a rhythm here or there, of course, there's always a little bit that comes to the forefront.
Right. Yeah. 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 So track number two, Imaginary Friends, might be my favorite track. Might be my favorite
Oh
track.
yeah.
There's a lot of good ones, so like it's hard to pick. I guess for you too, a favorite track, but that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, to me that's like a one-two punch with Unbroken. It's like it's like hard rock. It's that song Imaginary Friends, to me it is like a tribute to the music I've grown up listening to.
Right,
I'm a big admirer of Desmond Child,
right,
and this guy wrote so many great singles, like for Aerosmith, with Aerosmith and Kiss and
right,
Alice Cooper. And to me, there's that amazing Kane Roberts Saints and Sinners album, which
right.
I
Yeah,
dig. And to me, it's like a tribute to that era of music,
right.
you
Yeah.
know. And I try to imagine if I had Desmond working with me, what kind of song
Right.
would he write for this album? And that's like a tribute to an era and a tribute to Desmond Child also.
Cool. Yeah, definitely the first two tracks really blew me away, right off the bat. And I listened to them a
They're very
couple.
immediate.
Yeah, very, really good. Next track is an instrumental, Polaroid. Tell me a little bit about that song.
Um, Polaroid is a song. I lost my dad 3 years ago during COVID,
Right,
and during that time, I was. This was one of the riffs I was working on. Don't down, don't that, and I couldn't come up with the lyrics or the rest of the song, and then it's weird because the day I had to bury my dad,
right,
I had this thing ringing in my head like don't down, down, down. And and it's like it's about grief. You have different stages of grief,
right,
and this one makes me think of that day, and
right,
I couldn't I didn't write lyrics, man, because it
right, yeah,
was such a deep, dark moment that I mean there are just no words.
right, yeah,
And the following song, which is called Cavok, that stands for clouds and visibility. Okay, that's from aviation.
right,
You
yeah,
know, when you have like a blue sky and all that. So so Polaroid, which is about being a Polaroid to that
right, yeah,
moment, is like a prelude to Cavok, which is like it's more about acceptance. It's
right, yeah,
like, okay, if you really have to go and if you really have to take off, I hope that's on a beautiful sunny day, and that you can carry on spiritually wherever you may go.
right, yeah. Wow, wow. Well, we talked about Cavok. Let's go to Serendipity. You did some acoustic work in the beginning of that track, which is a nice little touch, and another really good track. Tell me a little bit about
Yeah, that's the thing. When I tell you about the Brazilian influence, there's a guitar player. Uh, it's a local guy from here. His name is Percy, and he's like really well known. He's played with a bunch of top 40 people like over the years. He's like this amazing, amazing studio cat. And I mean, the way there's this killer acoustic guitar sound, and I mean, it doesn't sound like Brazilian music,
it. Right,
but of course, it's got some swing that, I mean, I can hear the Brazilianness. I don't know
right,
if
yeah,
that exists, but within, and it's basically about an encounter, because it's just like for instance, uh, when people discovered, how do you pronounce it, penicillin.
huh? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's not what they were looking for. That was
right,
like a happy accident. So that's Serendipity. So this song is basically about happy encounters and about the unexpected. And yeah, that's one of my favorites actually.
Cool. How about Stentorian? That your
Uh,
vocals sound a lot like Sebastian Bach on that track. I hear like little essence of Bach on there.
oh man, it's like of course uh Sebastian while I was growing up was one of my guys.
Right,
I mean, to this date, I still think that Slave to the Grind is like a textbook on
right.
how to sing hard rock and metal. I mean, that's such, you know, it's like it's it's an album that came out in 91, but it
Right.
still sounds killer and
Yeah,
amazing.
cool, cool. Now the
And
title,
yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe there's some Sebastian. I don't know.
I hear it. So, you know, I
All
I,
right.
I enjoyed it. So next track is Dandelion, which is the title track of the album. Just a good rock song, really good. Tell me a little bit about that
Yeah.
track. And why'd you pick it for the title?
Um, it's then the thing about Dandelions is it's a bit like um it's a really rocking track.
Right,
Can't. But in the end, it grows into something like full blown
right, yeah.
with orchestration and
Uh-huh.
choirs, and it's I think the whole record is a hard rock record, but it's got so many influences and nuances that, and I don't know, it's the guy who played the keyboards
Right.
on this album, and he did the orchestrations with me. His name is Bruno Sa. He's been playing with Jeff Tate on his solo band for a while. He's Brazilian, but he's always with Jeff. He's done tours with Angra. He was supposed to join the Trans-Siberian Orchestra a while ago. You can even say that, there's a little bit of sabotage.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Those albums, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
Edge of Thorns and Handful of Rain, which are albums that I really dig. But yeah, it's really interesting because Dandelions, because that came out of the blue. I just woke up one morning and I had this word on my mind. It
Right.
just
Yeah.
came to me in a dream, and the thing is, I started reading about it and say that a dandelion is like a good omen when you blow your
Right. Yeah.
dandelion and
Yeah.
the petals just go everywhere and you make a wish. So it's basically about because sometimes you part with people you love. I don't know. Life sometimes brings people together, and sometimes life separates people. But it's like a goodbye letter. It's like,
Right.
I just wish you have like safe trips and all that.
Right.
I hope that you have like a great future ahead. And it's when you wish something good towards
Right. Yeah.
a person, or yeah. And why the title Dandelions is because normally it's a hassle to find uh, a title track for my previous album is called Karma Cafe.
Right.
It was pretty obvious to me when I wrote that song.
Right. Yeah.
But this album, I had something like four different titles,
Right. Yeah.
and it basically uh, it basically came down to the cover ideas.
Right. Yeah.
I thought of those. Yeah, you've seen the cover.
Yes.
It's like you think of giant dandelions on an Aeolian
Right. Yeah.
um, park,
Right.
and I mean they have giant speakers, and they're so loud. They're spreading the message. like Dandelions, but it's not it's not a light album.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not it's not it's not cozy, nice little music. It's got,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's metal pedals there in the
Right.
keys.
Yeah.
So it's a bit, it's a bit crazy, but I love
Yeah.
it.
Cool. Cool. What about the next track? What doesn't kill me? That kind of slows the things down a little bit.
Yeah, it's, I mean, the same guy Percy I told you about.
Uh-huh.
He's really good at playing the lap steel,
Right.
and it's like it's basically like uh, a a mid-tempo balladish
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
I love the lyrics, and yeah, it's a play on words. What doesn't kill me? It's not stronger, it's stranger,
Right. Yeah.
because it's, I mean, it's the the more you go through extreme and hard situations,
Right.
it's really hard to bounce back and be the same.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the point. You shouldn't really be the same.
Right. Yeah.
So it's, yeah, you got to learn from the stuff you that happens to you, and yeah. So on the outside, maybe it's like, wow, you're a stranger, but that's just life. That's
Yeah.
just, I mean, life shapes us to be, I mean, like this. Life ain't easy,
Right. Yeah.
but
What about
you gotta move ahead.
yeah, yeah. What about the next
But
track?
yeah,
This game. That's a more melodic beat
um,
too.
yeah, yeah. The next two are really cool because they're actually, my first band was called Angel Heart,
Uh-huh.
and it was the first album I recorded. It was released back in '95. It
Right.
was totally a hard rock band,
Uh-huh.
like Skid Row and Poison and all that.
Hmm.
But the thing is, of course, it was the worst timing possible. I
Uh-huh.
mean, in '95, making music like that, and especially being in Brazil, pre-internet and all that, that
Right.
was
Yeah.
just an uphill battle. That was not easy. So the thing is, um, we 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 never lost touch. We were always friends, and I wrote these two songs with Angel Heart,
Uh-huh.
this game and the next one, which is Daisy Chain, which are
Right.
more, you can see these two songs are more melodic and
Right. Yeah.
AOR-ish.
Definitely. Yep.
And so it's like it fits, they fit the album completely.
Right.
And I don't know if we're ever going to be able to finish a new Angel Heart album,
Right.
but I'm like, okay, these two songs, they're just too good, and they fit Dandelions. So I'm going to kidnap those two
That's
for my album.
cool.
You
Cool.
guys play on my album, and that's all good.
Right. Yeah. Even the next track, Waiting for a Sign, that's kind of slowed down a little bit too.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Um, I wrote that song in France,
Uh-huh.
like, I don't know, 18 years ago or so. I was in France doing an album with a
Uh-huh.
band, and that's very self-explanatory. It's just like I was recording this album. Uh, it was like a very melancholic day,
Right.
sitting with my acoustic guitar by the window, and it was like you just thinking about life. And the thing is, when I wrote this song, um, I had this song for all this time, and it didn't fit some of my previous albums,
Right.
but I always thought it was a strong song. And this time, as Dandelions is a pretty wide uh, um, spectrum.
Right.
It's hard rock, but I mean, it's not just that. I
Right.
mean, it's like the main. I thought it could fit the album, and I'm happy about it.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
happy that it finally, came out.
Right, yeah. Wow. Wow. How about the next track, The Circus Left Town? That got heavy bass sounds on the beginning of the song.
Oh yeah, heavy bass sounds, and there's that riff. It on, on the outside, it's you probably think, oh, it's kind of punkish. I don't know, but to me, that comes from one of my favorite guitar players. Because the thing is, before I became a singer,
Right.
I was a guitar player,
Uh-huh.
and I started singing because I joke when I say that I I I I decided to become a singer not to have to deal with one.
Uh-huh.
so
Wow.
so that I'm still a sucker for guitar players,
Right.
and
Yeah.
one of my favorite guitar players is Steve Stevens.
Uh-huh.
And
Wow.
to me, I really like that approach. Like when he was playing with Billy Idol, that Eyes Without a Face, like
Yeah. Yeah.
he's very rhythmic. A lot of people say, "Oh, Stevens is an amazing soloist."
Right.
He is, but I don't think he gets enough credit for his rhythm guitar work, which is like wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's weird to be on an interview saying that
Uh-huh.
you were influenced by someone's rhythm playing, but I
Right.
was.
Yeah. 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 How about,
Especially when a guy,
uh-huh.
he's not Malcolm Young, he's like a
Right. Yeah.
super soloist.
Wow. Wow. How about the last track, Hypnotized, and kind of remind me of Hot for Teacher on Van Halen. Yeah.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. The thing is, to me, this song is a little like on Imaginary Friends, which is a tribute to a moment in time in music. When I wrote this song, which I've had this riff for a while, um, it's like I wanted to pay tribute to the energy
Right.
of metal and hard rock. And the drummer who did this song, his name is Rodrigo Martinho, and Rodrigo is a big fan of Dean Castronovo. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, yeah, it's a shuffle
Uh-huh.
because if you, I mean, that's why people get Hot for Teacher right away.
Right.
But it's like a 2024 shuffle, hardcore.
Yeah.
He's like really influenced by Dean Castronovo and those more technical players. So the drumming is just outstanding. And not only Van Halen, but I mean it's like it's a tribute to all this music that still gives me chills, like Purple,
Uh-huh.
like songs like Burn, where you have like you have like the great guitar solo,
Right.
then you have the keyboard solo, and also I don't know, Ingve's Rising Force band
Right.
when he first came to America, which was like that first lineup with Jeff Scott Soto, the
Right. Yeah.
Johansson
Yeah.
brothers, and Marcel Jacob. To me, that's one of the greatest rock bands of all time, honest.
Right. Yeah.
And if you think about it, it's all guys that were like in their early 20s and
Yeah.
amazing players.
Right. Yeah.
So that's like, that was just like a tip of the hat to these guys and this music. And it's like a big thank you to this music. It's fun to think about it because, in a way, this album is looking at the future. Like it's got some of the some of the great playing, the acoustic songs, which are a bit different, but at the same time, it it looks back. Um, it's like it looks back at my first band on two
Right.
songs, and there are these two other songs like Imaginary Friends and Hypnotized, which are like thank you hard rock, thank
Yeah.
you heavy metal,
Wow. Yeah.
I love you, and like I'm your soldier.
Cool. Cool.
Something like that.
So, how was it
uh,
getting signed to Kivel Records?
well, John and I, we go way back because first of all, one of my best friends who's also featured on this album is Marco Ferreira, who
Uh-huh.
was the mastermind behind Goodbye Thrill, which was on Kivel Records.
Right.
And Goodbye Through, and into here. He's got and Marco is one of my best friends in the world. And Marco invited me to play on Melodic Rock Festival
Right.
in 2010, 2013, and it was really cool because that's when I first met John. So it's like we
Yeah.
basically we go back 15 years, and I always admired. I mean, he always had a great cast. He was always releasing great bands like, I don't know,
Right.
Adrian Gale and Tango Down, and so many cool bands. Bombay Black,
Right.
which has a great new album, and even some of the older cats like Ted Poley.
Right.
So John has great taste in both in music, and I really like the way he presents his artwork. He's really cool when a label has like a direction. I
Right.
mean, some labels you just, even if you don't really know the artist,
Right.
you can go and buy the album because it's totally gonna be up up your alley,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
if you
Definitely.
know what I mean. Because John he's a good gatekeeper
Good. Good.
in a good way. He's
Right.
releasing great stuff.
Wow. Wow. So, what are your hopes for this album?
So that's how we connected
Uh-huh.
a long time ago, and finally time has come for us to make this album together. The thing is, I'm a guy making music,
Right. Yeah.
and I just hope that Dandelions gets its shot. I think it's a beautiful record. Um, I spent a year and a half uh, in the studio making it. There's a lot of great players. There's a lot of cool songs, and it's like a big labor of love.
Right.
There's a lot of love involved. Even it's funny because before uh, I during pandemic, I was thinking of moving to the U.S.
Uh-huh.
I went to audition for some stuff in New York, and I really wanted to move to the U.S. back then. And then when I was supposed to do it, and the COVID thing hit,
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
so I was stuck here in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, where I live. And my brother and we spent almost 2 years building a studio.
Right.
So we built this really nice studio. It's got, we can track amazing live drums. It's got a really high ceiling. It sounds really cool. And so we spent almost 2 years building the studio. After that, a year and a half uh, working on the album. And now it's time to make music, and I really want this music to get its shot. I really want people to listen to it. There's the guy who produced the album with me. His name is Eduardo Belchior. He comes from Sweden, and he works in a studio called Fascination Street. He's uh, there's a guy called Jens Bogren, who's one of the top producers in metal these days.
Right.
This guy is his assistant. So he's been doing Sepultura, Angra, a lot of nice stuff. So he came to Brazil, and we were supposed to track drums
Right.
only, but in the end, he fell in love with everything, and he mixed the album, which was also mastered by another Swedish guy. So
Cool.
there's a lot of love involved in this album.
Cool. 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 Well, Gus, it was great talking to you, and I'm don't be a stranger no more. Don't wait 10 years to talk to me. We
Oh man, likewise, so cool catching up with you, brother.
definitely. You want to say anything in conclusion?
I really like to thank Rock Eyes and you, of course, Brian. It's one of the sites that are still carrying the flag, and one of the sites that I still visit. Like,
Right.
there are not many,
Yeah, yeah.
and the ones that you really have as reference. Like, oh, if they're talking about this record, it's
Right.
like what I mentioned um about the specialist thing. You
Right. Yeah.
guys are really, it's like John,
Yeah.
you're really special. You're just hard rock specialists.
Cool.
So it's really good to follow to discover nice stuff through you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. I'm also playing with this killer band right now called Supremacy,
Uh-huh.
and we just played Firefest in England, which is like one
Right.
of the premier hard rock festivals on the planet.
Right.
So that's Dandelions just is just coming out now, and I think my next album is going to be with Supremacy. The previous one we had Bruce Kulick on guitar. It was really a really cool experience.
Cool. Cool.
And yeah, man, and let's keep making music because every day when you wake up and you keep living the music, it's a great day in my books.
Cool. Cool. Thanks for the little chat we had. Keep in touch, man.
Oh man. All right, brother. Have
Talk to
a
you
great
later.
day, Brian.
You too. Bye bye.
See you, brother. Bye, man.